Here with Washington State women's basketball coach Kamie Ethridge. Coach, your team takes on Gonzaga this Wednesday, December 8th at 6 p.m. at the McCarthy Center. Just kind of talk a little bit how your team is preparing, how you're looking forward to this matchup, and then we'll open the floor for questions.
Well, we're just starting our preparation. Obviously, we just got back from UC Davis and had a day off yesterday and tried to rest up a little bit. It's been a little stressful in the travel recently. So we got 2 days to prepare for a really great team and great program and a team that's really dominated us since I've been here. So great challenge in front of us and excited to play a quality opponent like Gonzaga.
If you have any questions, go ahead and please raise your hand now. Joe McHale from KHQ. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Coach, just curious if you can give us maybe an early kind of scouting report. What do you think about Gonzaga, what they do so well and why they're a problem for so many teams?
Yeah. They just run a really disciplined system. They have well-defined roles, it looks like to us. They don't run a lot of sets, so they're wildly opposite of us, but they do them. They just are like, they never get denied. They just run it. There's just, this is what we do and try to stop us. They've got a great post-up game that gets them easy baskets. They've got great three-point shooting, just a lot of weapons, not super pressure defense, but just so sound and solid. Reminds me a lot of like North Carolina State, not a real high pressure team, but they just keep you in front of them and make you earn every basket you can get. So, it's kind of a deadly combination. They're good on both sides of the ball and a real challenge to score on. And they're really good at getting to the spots of the floor and being able to score at a high level. So it's a great challenge for us.
What you look at your team, I mean, you were returning pretty much all your starters this season, whereas they lost a three-headed monster. They lost Jill, they lost the Worth twins. They were a dominant trio. How big of a difference do you think that makes? I mean, they're not necessarily a young team, but they do have some pretty savvy players returning. But what do you think? Do you think that will be a big difference in this game?
Well, I thought last year they were really deep. These players that now are playing a little bit more minutes are so ready. I mean, I don't know that they drop off a lot. It's a credit to Lisa and her program and her staff and how they develop players and how they get kids ready to step in when they lose kids and lose players or lose great players. So, I don't see a real drop off from them. Again, their system doesn't change. They just continue to bring players along and get them to playing at the level. They're so physical. They're so aggressive. Again, very disciplined, very, great body strength and things like that. So I give her a lot of credit and them a lot of credit. Clearly I like having all 5 of my starters back, but I still don't think we're a real deep team. We were pencil thin a year ago. We still are, although I do think that we have a little bit more depth around our starting 5. So, but I don't really still look at us as a super old team either. We're experienced in a couple positions, but we're still young in a lot of positions and haven't played a lot of teams of this level in some of these kids' careers. So it's a real challenge for us to get ready for them in a short period of time and to try to match up with them better than we have in the past, because we clearly haven't done a very good job lately.
Yeah, last one from me right now, Coach. Just how important is it for you in your program to get games like this against these quality opponents leading up to the conference season?
Yeah, I mean, I like our schedule. I think it's been great for us. We travel to the Bahamas and play a Miami team that's a certain type of team, a high pressure team, and handle that. We did a nice job of handling that, turn around and play a really talented North Carolina State team that doesn't pressure you, but they just make you pay for every mistake and they make it really hard for you to score. I think of Gonzaga a little bit more like North Carolina State. In the midst that we're playing, obviously Gonzaga, we've got Brigham Young coming up, who's playing unbelievably well. I mean, all of those teams are Power 5 body type teams, athleticism, strength, and clearly systems and programs that are traditionally win at a high level. So you're going against a great culture in all those programs, and for us it's real important to face those and to see where we stand against some of the very best teams in the country.
Coach, your team's been able to eclipse the 70-point mark in back-to-back games since the loss against NC State. What has attributed to that offensive success, and just kind of, what have you able to pull out of that game after that offensive funk that's allowed you guys to score?
Well, primarily not playing North Carolina State, maybe. That might be the biggest thing that we did. We weren't very good against North Carolina State, and they made us pay. And I think we did learn some things. We didn't take care of the ball very well. We forced things a lot of times. And, I think we want to be a real high IQ team. But I don't know that we were playing at a real high level, on the offensive end. So the good news is I think we're playing, really well on the defensive end, and we're holding people, and the score's not getting too far out of hand. And if we can do that maybe as our offense evolves and gets a little bit better, maybe we become a little bit more consistent. I think that's the thing we're looking for on the offensive end, and while we keep our defensive intensity and what we're doing there. So again, everybody's talking about the same thing as coaches right now. Everybody's worried about consistency and where you are on both sides of the ball, and nothing's guaranteed. Obviously Gonzaga has a chance to expose us on the defensive end if we're not really well prepared and ready for the battle. And they're going to make it hard for us on the offensive end. So it's a really great matchup to see where we are and to see if we've learned from some of the things that we've gone through, and like you said, prepare us for what we're going to see in the future.
Charli and Bella has really responded after that NC State game. They've had double-digit performances against San Francisco and at UC Davis. Charli's had a season high 27. Bella's had 16 and 14 in back-to-back games. Just how big is it for those two to just put up those numbers, maybe not 27 every single night, but just to consistently have those two in double digits? How big is that for you guys just as you're trying to get into the offensive rhythm?
Well, again, I think everybody in the country wants not just two players in double digits, but 4 and 5. And we keep saying our magic number is 80. I don't think Gonzaga scores a lot, and I don't think they give up that many points. So I don't know where that number is going to be against Gonzaga, but we need the consistency of 4 players getting double digits, and when we're at our worst, probably we have 1. And not that we don't like a 27-point performance out of Charli. I'll take that every night of the week, but we can't rely on that. We can't make her be superwoman every night. We've got to have great role players around her. And I do like the fact that Bella is really growing and has gotten a lot better and consistent in her game over the summer and over the first part of this year. And I didn't even think she had a great game at UC Davis, and you look at her stats and she has 16 points and her shooting percentage is pretty high. So that's really encouraging, because I do think she just, again, continues to get better. And the good news for us is that she really has a high ceiling, and I think can get a lot better even from where she is right now.
Any final questions for Coach?
Yeah, can I ask a couple more?
Go ahead, Joe.
Cool. You just talked about Bella. Where have you seen her grow in her game?
Well, I would just say I think her physical talents, her skill work, her skill development is eye-popping compared to when she came to us, and her body, her commitment to conditioning and strength, and just how she's, I think it's kind of eye-popping. I think she's gotten just so much better. She's a really good athlete, and for us, I think she has a chance to even really expand her game. And decision making is always going to be something that can grow and grow and grow as a player. You can always get better there and pick and choose your moments of scoring and not scoring and just the consistency of the game. I think all of that's gotten better, but it has a long way to go for her. But I just love how she's grown competitively. She's grown emotionally and mentally. And again, she has a long way to go in some of those areas. I think her emotions can get the best of her at times, and she can get frustrated, but gosh, she's come so far, and she's come so far in every area of her life. And it's fun to work with a player who has decided she wants to be a great basketball player and a great teammate, and knows that she messes up some and still just gets up every day and tries to do her best and is really committed to being her very best that she can be for us as a teammate and as a player and competitor on the court. So there's not an area of her life that I don't think she hasn't just really, really grown in.
Coach, you've gotten to see firsthand what it's like having sisters on the floor together with Charlize and Crystal. Gonzaga has the twins, Kaylee and Kaylin. Just kind of what does that add? What does that do for a team and for their chemistry?
Yeah, I just always say it's almost like they have their own language. I mean, it could be spoken or unspoken. You know, I think they're probably harder on each other. Ours are, at least. You know, I don't ever hear Charlize, bite at another teammate. But with her sister, she might be a little stronger in how she might communicate. Crystal will, so that's going on all the time. They're telling each other what to do. And I think that's a great thing. Obviously they have a lot of relational capacity built up, so they don't take it to heart, and they're thick skinned with one another. They know that their, blood's a lot thicker than anything else. So, I think that's all good. And I think for the people that watch that and all our teammates that can see how they get along and how they compete and how they are with one another, I think it helps the team know how they can communicate and especially when they're the hardest workers and when they're the highest IQ players and when they're the most committed in your team and your team dynamic. I mean, they are great, great leaders, whether they're speaking it or not, because they're just their example every single time on the court shines really bright.
Can I ask one more, or does anyone else have any questions, or you got to go, Coach?
I'm good.
I was just going to ask about just what you've seen. I mean, obviously, everyone knows what Charlize brings to the team, to the game. Where have you seen a leap, or have you seen her kind of step up in any other way? What's been I guess my question really should just be, where have you seen her grow from last year and what she was able to do to now?
Well, I don't know. I don't know that there was a huge hole in her game. I mean, we wanted her to shoot the ball better. I think sometimes she gets to be a volume shooter. And I think just what she's done in the past in training has always been 5-on-5, and probably great shooters in America just spend a ton of time shooting the ball. So I still think that's an area of growth for her to shoot the ball from the perimeter. I think she worked on it some this summer, but she was also training with the national team, which is 5-on-5 stuff. So really, but I think the thing about her is it's just harder now. She's on everybody's scout. They're determined to stop her. She gets the best of not just one player, but 2 and 3 and a whole scout. And I just think that's why sophomores slump sometimes, I'm sure, because it's just not a surprise factor anymore. And I think she's handled that really well. I don't think she shot the ball well early. She got in the gym and just rubbed blisters on her fingers, I think, from shooting it. And kids don't shoot the ball good all the time. We just watched Caitlin Clark have a bad night a few days ago. And, Charlize was like, oh, it happens to everybody, huh? And, it's a lot to carry when you're that good and so much is expected of you every single night. And we've got to do a better job as a coaching staff and as a team and as her teammates to not make her carry such a heavy load. But I don't have any complaints on her. When she gets determined and sets her mind to something, she's pretty good at coming through.
Hi, Coach. Stephanie Hawk Freeman here with SWX Pac-12 Wednesday's game, obviously SWX. But you're 7 games in now. You're getting into the routine of things. So you've touched on a few of these things, but what do you feel kind of the main characteristics? What do you like from what you're seeing from your team right now? And what are some of those things that you still are looking to improve upon moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I love our growth defensively. I mean, I really think we've guarded people so well, and I would include North Carolina State in that. I mean, I think we guarded them so well. We've really done a nice job of making, keeping the score down a little bit more so than we did a year ago. So rebounding, I think, has gotten better. It can always get better. So on the defensive side of the ball, I feel like we have a lot of pride in doing that well, and that's helping us keep momentum and go through those stretches on the offensive end right now where we're not so consistent, and it keeps us in the game. I think the concerning issue for probably every coach in the country is, do we shoot the ball well enough? Are we consistent enough on the offensive end to put enough points on the board to win games? And I don't know that we've completely shown that. Obviously, I love the way we performed at Davis. I thought we really grew there and stepped up. I thought our second half against San Francisco was really good. And that's coming off a team that's probably somewhat fragile after scoring what we did against North Carolina State, 32 or whatever ridiculous points we scored against them. So to overcome that and to get back on track and get our kids' attention and still try to step up and make shots and be a confident team on the offensive end. I mean, I think that's a work in progress, but I like how our team's attacking the offensive end and trying to move the ball a little bit better and not trying to do too much off the dribble maybe, but pass the ball a little bit better to one another. And I think if we do that and continue to get better there, execute better on the offensive end, I think our shooting numbers will go up. But that would be my biggest concern, our shooting numbers, and clearly just trying to maintain our defensive intensity and rebounding numbers.
Great, thank you.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time. Best of luck this week against Gonzaga, and we'll talk to you after the game. Go Cougs.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Go Cougs.
Thanks, Coach.